This is not your average Sabrina. Hey, I'm Amy and welcome back. This is my first non-Doctor Who TV review I think I've done, and I'm really excited because it is for the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. It is a new show on Netflix. This is going to be not really an overview, but kind of a review of the first season that just premiered. There are 10 episodes. It is by the producers of Riverdale, and it has a very Riverdale feel. Just first thing off the bat, it feels very much like Riverdale. And you know what? I'm not mad at it. I actually really enjoy at least the first season of Riverdale. I haven't watched the second season, so I don't know a whole lot about that. And a quickie review of my thoughts on the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina is I absolutely loved it. I had so much fun. I knew I was probably going to like this from the trailer, which is a little bit weird. If you know me, you know that I'm not a huge fan of horror movies. They're just not really my jam, but I've slowly been getting into them a lot more recently, and I was really excited for this. Mostly because I really loved the original Sabrina the Teenage Witch with Melissa Joan Hart, and I have read some of the comics that are part of the Archie Casper universe. But I didn't know that this had nothing to do with either of those things. This was based on a dark universe Sabrina comic called The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina in the dark world that was created, I think, in 2014. But I also really love magic and witches and things like that. Plus, cats are kind of my favorite thing in the world. So I knew I probably would like this, but I was a little wary of the creepy, scary factor on it. But I liked Stranger Things, so I knew I would probably do okay with this. And so a little spoiler review of the entire season. I'm not going to go episode by episode. I do have notes on episodes, but they're very brief, only a couple lines, so I'm not really going to get super in-depth into them. Just a general overview and my thoughts on the entire season. A prediction I had in a reaction video I did for, I believe, the full trailer. They show Harvey Kinkle for the first time. He's played by Ross Lynch, who I think did a great job in this. Kiernan Shipka, I think that's how you pronounce her name, the girl who plays Sabrina, was phenomenal. She was so great, everything I wanted her to be. But Ross Lynch, who plays Harvey, is normally blonde, but they dyed his hair brown for this role. And they did the same thing to Cole Sprouse on Riverdale. And in that reaction, I predicted that, like Cole Sprouse became sort of this character that everyone was obsessed with, including myself. I absolutely have a crush on Cole Sprouse that I never really knew that I had. The same thing was going to happen with Ross Lynch, now that he has dyed his hair brown, and, you know, honestly, not that bad. But besides that fact, even though Ross Lynch is mainly known for his role on a Disney Channel show, I really, really loved his performance as Jeffrey Dahmer in My Friend Dahmer. That came out earlier this year, I believe, maybe in like February? I don't remember. It was late last year, early this year, but either way, I really loved his performance in that. So I was excited to see what he would do for this, because this is completely different than his Disney Channel show, which I've seen a couple episodes of, and it's just very family friendly, very bubblegum. And this was totally different, and I loved it. So great job, Ross Lynch. Great job, Kiernan Shipka. I really hope that's how you pronounce her name. She was so good as Sabrina. She just nailed it on the head. She is really sweet and innocent, just like you would think Sabrina kind of would be, but once it starts to get a little bit darker, because this is a very dark and creepy Sabrina universe. The witches are not good witches. They're not technically bad witches either, but they do like worship the Dark Lord or Satan, something in that, which I'm going to get to the whole religion aspect of this in a second, because I do have a little bit of issues with that. It's very dark because the witches do pray, like they do worship Satan. They're like the opposite of like Christianity, Catholicism, kind of more traditional religions. They even call all of the like more traditional religions gods fake god. Kiernan Shipka really plays it, like she does a great job of being this dark person when she needs to be for certain things, and you feel her slowly sliding down into this darkness, especially towards the end. And since I'm talking about it, I am just going to go straight into talking about the coven and the religion that they have there versus like more traditional religions. Their whole religion is based around like, they are the Church of Night, which is this coven that they have in Greendale, and I don't really get it a whole lot because there is like Greendale's Church of Night there, that is their coven, but I guess there are other covens outside that are called something different, and they are kind of different religions because from what it seems they have different traditions and different holidays, because there is the Feast of Feasts, which is a Greendale coven like Church of Night or whatever tradition or holiday. And then there's this witch who is really the mother of demons, who says she's from an outside coven from a different state or county or like from somewhere else, that says that they don't have this Feast of Feasts, but somehow all of the covens worship Satan. So I don't know, because I know with most religions, I grew up Catholic, most churches in the Catholic faith all have the same holidays and most of the time traditions. There are some traditions that are more centered around each church, like the church that I grew up going to has a fair every year that they raise money for the church, and that's a tradition that they have. And I know the church that my dad grew up going to has something similar around a similar time of the year, but not every church does that. That is just a very Midwest thing to do. But I don't think that this is the same thing, because the Feast of Feasts is a like just huge holiday thing versus these fairs I'm talking about are just kind of big events that happen over a weekend. Not really the same thing. So maybe in season 2 they will branch out from Greendale, go to Riverdale. They do name drop Riverdale in one of the episodes, and we'll get to see a Riverdale coven maybe and get to see their traditions, something like that. I don't know. I am really interested to see a little bit more into the background of the religion, or the religious aspect of it, especially since her friend, Sabrina's friend Roz, her father is a pastor at a church, and they are kind of like the opposite of what Sabrina and the rest of the witches in Greendale are. They are like the Church of Light, I believe, is the actual name of that church. So it is literally the opposite of the witches' church. So it's something I'm really interested in seeing a little bit more fleshed out in future seasons, which fingers crossed we do get, because I feel like this show has gone over really well. So a couple things that I really, really loved about this that are very small and not really consequential to my enjoyment of it overall in general, but just some fun things that I really, really loved. The intro to the series, I only watched it in the first episode because, like Netflix, I just basically binged this in 2 days pretty much. Netflix will skip the intro when you first start it, so I only watched it in the first episode, but I love it. It is very old school. It marries the original comic look, the new Chilling Adventures of Sabrina comic book look, and the Riverdale feel, and just combines them very nicely. It makes it feel very different than the Melissa Joan Hart, like very different than the Melissa Joan Hart series, and it's just so great because this is something that I need right now. This is more my speed in the Sabrina evolution. When I was in middle school and elementary school and high school, when I watched the original Sabrina the Teenage Witch series, that was kind of where I was at that point in my life, and having a more darker Sabrina is kind of something that is really perfect for me in this time of my life, but also just my tastes in general. Riverdale does this very well, and I believe they pulled it into Sabrina as really well, like it integrated into Sabrina very well. It also is the kind of era and what century, where they are in the space of the universe. They are definitely in like modern times. They are in 2018, 2017. They're around this time, but they have all this like vintage looking stuff, vintage cars, the diner, like everywhere they go, all the sets, all the school, everything is very like 1970s looking, which I really love. It's kind of has the feel of when the original comics first were created. Like the original Archie comics, the original Sabrina comics are set in 1970, I believe, because that's when they were first created, and they've probably been evolutionizing since then. I've really only read the comic books that my dad grew up reading because those were what my grandma had as I was growing up. So that's the only Archie and Sabrina I really know. But they really integrated that old school look and feel, the kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? The period piece-ness of the 1970s into this, even though they do definitely have very modern technology like cell phones and laptops, because you see at one point Harvey is talking to Sabrina on a cell phone, but she is talking to him on a corded phone that I haven't seen since 1995. And I think at one point Ambrose, her cousin, even has a laptop. It's just, they do a great job of combining the two eras into this one cohesive thing that makes it feel a little ambiguous, but at the same time you know it's very modern. And I love the way this show just pulls you in. Right off the bat, you are hit with mysteries, just like Riverdale. You get the mystery of what happened to Sabrina's parents, what Sabrina is going to do if she's going to decide to become a full witch or stay mortal, all of that kind of stuff. You also have this mystery of trying to figure out who's on what side, even sometimes with Sabrina, and it carries on into the end of the episode, or the end of the season, where you're still trying to figure out if her friends are going to be on her side later on, or like Mrs. Wardwell, the teacher who, well, Mother of Demons, who is posing as the teacher slash as a witch from a different coven for Sabrina, so she doesn't find out that she's the Mother of Demons. You really want to know whose side she's really on, because it seems like she is definitely on the side of the Dark Lord, but at the same time she's helping Sabrina, but she's really doing what she's doing to help Sabrina to push her into what the Dark Lord has planned. Something that this does that Riverdale doesn't do is it doesn't play up the whole teen drama aspect as much. Riverdale is very, very much a teen drama with some mysteries thrown in. This only has a couple episodes that feel very much like a teen drama, and I absolutely love that. I am not a huge fan of the teen drama kind of show, but the episodes with the teen drama stuff weren't my absolute favorite. I think it was more like the third or the fourth episode that was really centered around teen drama. I think it's in the fourth episode when it's the Feast of Feast episode and Prudence has to come stay at the Spellman's house because she is crowned the queen of the Feast of Feast, and she goes to Sabrina's school for a little bit, and it does very much feel like a teen drama. I may be getting my episodes mixed up because I did watch all of these just back to back to back to back to back to back to back. So I may be kind of mixing them all up. But there is an episode where Prudence and Sabrina kind of butt heads a little bit, and it does get very teen drama-y, which wasn't my favorite episode, but I kind of got over it, moved on, because there are so many great episodes in this. And oh my gosh, I haven't even talked about one of the best. When I was watching the credits, I saw the name Michelle Gomez on there, and I was like, why does that name sound so familiar? So I looked it up, and she's Missy from Doctor Who, which I was really excited about, and this is kind of going in a totally different direction than what I was talking about. I absolutely love her as Missy in Doctor Who. She is a villain, but she also kind of helps the Doctor a little bit, and I was really wondering what she would do as her character, who is Miss Wardwell. She is basically the Mother of Demons. She's hiding. She's kind of the one who's helping Sabrina, but at the same time kind of pushing her to do the Dark Lord's will. And I really liked her story, and I'm really excited to see what she does in the second season. If there is a second season, I don't know if there is. But either way, super great character. Very good. Michelle Gomez is just amazing. And while I'm talking about characters, the actresses who play Sabrina's aunts are phenomenal as well. I don't know their names, the names of the actors. I should, but the actress who plays Aunt Zelda is Eowyn in Lord of the Rings, and it took me probably 5 episodes to realize that I recognized her from somewhere, and looked her up and realized, okay, yeah, that's Eowyn from Lord of the Rings, and I got super excited. But she plays a totally different character than Eowyn, and she is just very cold at first, but I loved her character arc of being this really cold aunt who's very into her religion and wants to bring Sabrina into that religion as well, but slowly kind of breaking down and siding with Sabrina and really coming around to what Sabrina wants to do. And the actress who plays Aunt Hilda I know she is known for The Office and Shaun of the Dead, but she is hilarious. She's really great. She doesn't have a whole lot of a character arc because she is very much focused around what Sabrina wants, and she's very willing to help Sabrina. And I absolutely love that in her character, and I love to see her character evolve a little bit more in season 2. So there are a couple more things I want to touch on before I am done with this. I know this is a very long video, but I had a lot of fun with this show. There are a couple dislikes I have with this. Most of it is around the writing of the show. At the beginning, a lot of it feels like it's there just for exposition, and it just feels like characters are spouting out things just to tell the audience what's happening, and they don't integrate it as seamlessly as they probably could. And they also throw in a couple little storylines. I know it's episode by episode, but there's this one storyline that goes all the way through, and it doesn't really have a proper ending unless they're going to carry it over to season 2, which I really hope they do, because I was kind of on the edge of my seat the entire time. They brought it back very shortly at the very end, almost when I had forgotten about it, and then they just kind of end it and nothing else after that. It kind of goes into the finale. So there are some storyline and writing issues that I had a problem with, but at the same time, it's kind of overlooked by the bigger picture of the entire season, for me at least. And actually, the only other dislike I have on my notes here is the kind of confusion I talked about earlier with the church coven type thing. The main thing I want to talk about in this, and hopefully I have enough battery and card memory left to talk about this, the strong female empowerment of this show. Oh my gosh, it is about women kicking ass, and I absolutely love this. Strong female-driven characters. The first episode, Sabrina wants to start this club to help protect her friend. She also wants to make her own decisions. She doesn't want to join the coven because she feels like she's being forced into it. She wants to make her own decisions. She doesn't want the Dark Lord making decisions for her, calling her to do stuff, kind of being more being oppressed than anything, because when the witches become a part of the coven, they have to just do the Dark Lord's bidding. And not only the Dark Lord, throughout a lot of the entire series, and especially in the last episode, it is very much the women have to be submissive to the men. And Sabrina wants to change that. She's very opposed to that, and a lot of the other women in their coven are very okay with this. They don't see a problem with it, and Sabrina kind of wants to change that. It also is a little bit spurred on by the fact that she's kind of unwittingly / unwillingly offered to the Dark Lord by her father when she was born, which is a whole nother issue that I feel like they will probably continue this whole theme on into the next season, which I really hope they do, because it's great. I talk about this in my Doctor Who series reviews, that I absolutely love seeing all of these strong women on TV now. It's so great. Like, I haven't watched any House of Cards, but I'm really loving that Robin Wright is taking over for Kevin Spacey in this last season, making her character be this strong, powerful, female-driven show. And you know what? I think I'm going to end it there because I feel like I talked as much as I could. I'm kind of losing my voice, and I don't know how much else I can say about this. I absolutely cannot stop singing this show's praises. I may watch it again, actually, because I love it that much. I absolutely cannot wait until they announce a season 2, which they may have already. I don't know. I probably could look that up. Just a little bit too lazy. But let me know what you guys thought of the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I would love to know. And thank you guys so much for watching. I really truly do appreciate every single one of you. Let me know who you are in the comments down below, and let's be friends. If you enjoyed this, leave a like and subscribe if you're new, because I love talking all things movies, TV shows, filmmaking, film history, all that fun stuff. And I'll see you next time. Bye!